All right. Wow. So I was just looking through my YouTube channel. It's been about 2 years. A little bit more, being real. It's about to be 3 years since I've done any type of video update. And my goodness, have things changed. So I was looking through the videos to see where I left off. Um, it turned out that the last video I did was me heading to this place to go work in the marijuana industry. So we're going to pick up from there and then uh, go on and tell you what's happened since. Um, so I went from Pasco, Washington. Um, let's start from there. From Pasco, after I got that job in Spokane, working at the marijuana place or whatnot, I worked there for about 3 months. I had started July 17th of 2017. I had left there, I want to say September or October of that year. And the reason why, it just wasn't satisfying. I wasn't getting anything out of it. I wasn't getting paid hardly anything to live in that state. Washington State's expensive. And you can't make a living. Well, I guess you can, but you're almost on borderline survivalist mode at 11.50 an hour doing that type of crap. Um, Coming out of the military, I thought that was good money. Nah, that's trash. Uh, and as a result, it's run terribly. Yeah, that place was dipshitty, of all things, just completely dipshitty. Didn't make sense. So, um, me and Joanna left, and ooh, there's a lot of weight with that remark. Um, Basically, what happened was one day, and as a result of working in the marijuana industry, a lot of marijuana happens. And I was really intoxicated one time, and I almost got into a bad car crash. That was stupid. That was dumb. I was at fault. Nothing happened. Nothing happened, mind you. I was extremely lucky. But later on that day, that really shook me up, and that kind of got me on the thoughts of thinking. You know, this doesn't work. But where are we going? What are we gonna do? So, sort of on a, I would say a whim. Yeah, yeah, it was a whim. Um, the plan was to go east. Um, just that. I didn't have anything in mind. We didn't have anything in mind, and so we went east, and we experienced a lot of bad things: homelessness, uh, hunger. Um, Fortunately, during that time, we didn't get sick, or else we would have been really, really, really in a bad way. So we first drove across the country, and we saw some cool stuff. Like after Pasco, we went to Idaho, and we went through Montana. And somewhere in Montana, uh, I know exactly the place. It was this place called the Bridger Mountains. That's when my new life began. There's a song. The name escapes me right now, but the chorus goes somewhat about "I'm just a lost boy in Neverland," um, and that song came on. It described not only me but us in that situation. And in the horizon, there were these beautiful mountains, and they're called the Bridger Mountains. And we just looked at them and cried. And seeing that and hearing that song, it was sort of like being reborn almost. It really seemed that way. Then along came little bit of craziness. I tried to go see my brother in Denver, Colorado, and he turned me away. I didn't see him. Um, I hadn't seen my brother in, God, 10 years. I've talked to him on the phone. We haven't hung out or been in the same space in a very long time since we lived together uh, in 2011 for a brief moment uh, due to this and that. So, the next day, fairly certain it was the next day, we go to this rest area in Wyoming, and it has a big old Abraham Lincoln monument, and it's a brass thing, if I remember right, and it has a quote of Lincoln. It says, "To be anew, you must act anew," or something along those lines, and that sort of became the mantra. To be anew, we must act anew. And after suffering through hunger, suffering through stupidity, suffering through situations of my own making. Uh, that became the point where I shaved my head, I shaved my face, and we went forward. And we went to, through South Dakota. We went to the Badlands National Park. We went to Wind Cave National Park. We went to Deadwood in South Dakota. We also went to see our friends in Nebraska. That was kind of cool. Sioux Falls. We went to Sioux Falls and we went to see the friends. That's what happened. And we went. Basically, I got in contact with a friend. My friend in Nebraska was a friend in the Navy. Then I got in contact with another friend of mine that lived in Iowa. And so from that point, we went to Iowa because we needed a place to stay. We had no money. I'm talking no money, no resources at all, except a 1999 Ford Explorer named Green that we got in Washington. So we went there, and the we hung out with Steve for a couple days, and then we had to leave. You know, we're pests at this point. I had to be real. Describing it any other way is just not accurate. We were pests. Desperate, too, I guess is the prevailing emotion, but definitely, definitely, we had to leave again. It was at this point, I guess, I started applying for work. And then, I want to say this was in late October. After all that time from September, well, September. I don't even know what day it was. This is how much of a blur and how fucked up it got. I didn't even know what day it was. But we, I got hired there on October 31st, 2017. It was this Chevy dealership in Dubuque, Iowa. And from then, good things started to happen. There was a month or so where we struggled still. We struggled a lot. We tried to get housing. We tried to get stuff like that. And we couldn't for a long time. But we had this extra ace in the hole that the IRS had forgotten to dispense one of my tax refunds in a couple years prior, I think. And so after the tax refund came in and we had that cash on hand, we got our place on December 11th, 2017. And that's the place I'm in now. And it's now that I got to introduce you to the new part of my life. I'm in a very small town in Wisconsin, not far away from Dubuque, but um, it's a small town in Wisconsin, and I kept that job over there at the dealership for like 2 years, but it became apparent. I think it was in November. Let me backtrack a little bit because I'm thinking of this stuff on the fly. November, I found out that not only do I qualify for my not sorry my Montgomery, my post 9/11 GI Bill, I'm eligible 100%. So I was like, I was literally screaming in this garage when I found this out. I was so happy when I found this out, but I kept that. Uh, that's a really valuable benefit, and I kept it on hand. Right, I kept it close, and my goodness. A lot of this stuff is coming back to me now, and yeah, we're 11 minutes in. But it's a cool story. It's a cool 11-minute story so far. But I worked there for a while, and things were stable. That's the first video I posted to this channel in relation to this was starting over, right? You know, getting out of the military, starting over something new, and all this. Well, I did. I did, and it took a long time. It was incremental. Like whenever big changes in life happen, I found they're little ones, little steps. They go up and up and up and up. You know, it's the way it is, and I'm here to tell you that that's how the American dream survives. It does exist. I'm living proof, and um, although lucky breaks are needed, um, to go from homeless and no direction to where I am now, uh, in a span of 3 years, it's great. It feels great. It's something I'm proud of. I got out of a really stressful situation, a really bad situation, um, from Pasco to here. Well, we both did, but uh, as things have turned out, things are going really well. I'm in school. I'm studying mechanical engineering with a minor in architecture, um, which seemed kind of far fetched even a couple years ago. Uh, didn't seem like it was going to work. So I'm in school. I'm getting my GI Bill, and I'm doing well in school, irregardless of this event, this global event that is happening, where you have to stay inside and do all that type of shit. So let's fast forward to now. Um, my goals now, obviously, I'm in school. The goal, is to keep going with that, graduate there. Um, there are some things that I have in mind, some dreams I have. I'm gonna keep that to myself. I'm sort of using that as fuel to keep going. And wow, things have changed for the better. Um, I'm back to knowing me now. I'm back to being um, safe. So I'm thinking about growing a YouTube channel unrelated to like my personal life or whatnot. Um, because really, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't want to get too personal here. I think that like based on what I've seen, um, in the uh, internet history and like social media and that type of thing, it's toxic now. And I saw this thing. It was a handwritten note the other day. On some type of YouTube channel, I think, where it said the internet was a mistake. And I look at that, I'm thinking, obviously there's a lot of good to come out of the internet. I mean, there's no debating that. That singular item changed the world, and led to other things changing the world, and it's a completely different place now. Pre-internet to post-internet is completely different. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to post a video at some point. It's sort of like an ode to the Spoonie one. There are like tons of YouTube channels out there that are trashing this guy. And I want to kind of write that. That seems a little fucked. Um, I'm going to get some detailed reasoning and stuff like that, I guess. Or give my thoughts on it. That's it. I'll give my thoughts on it, right? So, I was thinking about covering some football or some Formula One stuff or something like that. Um, but I think that, like, my focus are huge. I don't want to have a page with every single one of my focus on. I want to kind of compartmentalize that part of it. But yeah. So I'm thinking about doing this video with on Spoonie. I don't want to use his likeness. Uh, I just want to give a take on that situation, fair or not, and to thank him. The guy's made good stuff. Kind of got me into posting videos on my own, different as they are. But I just wanted to give a quick update to whoever is watching this out in the other ether, the one or two views that are around, to let you guys know that from bad situations come you. Like the person that you're supposed to be. Bad situations need to happen so that you can grow. Um, there's this proverb, and I don't know where this proverb comes from. I've actually heard Mexico, now that I think about it. But irregardless of its country of origin, the proverb is sort of like a story. And while I don't have like all the complete details of the story, the basic premise of it is people keep burying you and burying you and burying you and burying you. People or organizations, in my case, were burying me and burying me and burying me. But what they didn't realize was that I'm a seed. And from getting buried, seeds grow into anything from dandelions or daffodils to giant sequoia trees, right? Um, I guess that's what I was, a seed, and I'm growing, incrementally still, but I'm growing. Live emotions, live emotions now, a lot of things, a lot of thoughts. But the journey's not over. The journey's not over yet. This life ain't over. Yeah. Just when you think it is, that's when you should be getting started. If things are to the point to where your life has collapsed, like mine, my life beforehand collapsed, your seed, by the same potion, the same potion, by the same right, your seed. The bad things in your life are going to be bad, but they're necessary. So grow on, grow. Keep going. Keep striving. And one of my friends, Mike, the guy in Nebraska, told me something that I'll never forget. He told me some really good advice. He said, don't give up. Don't settle. And I took that to heart. I like Mike. That's really good advice. I guess when things get kind of rough, that thought somehow occurs. And keep going, keep surviving, keep being. The life isn't over. There's still time in the clock. Bring it home, whatever that is. And that's me signing off. I hope you guys are well. Whoever's reading this, or not reading, or watching, or whatever. And take care of yourselves.